It is All-Star game season, guys, and we have the director of scouting over at the College Gridiron Showcase. We're going to have him come on, Mike Rittelmann, talk about the game, talk about the backstory and the background, and what you need to be paying attention to and why you need to pay attention to it. All of that and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen, as always, every single day. Shout out for being our everydayers. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout and a senior draft analyst, and I got to kick this intro over to my guy, Mr. LSU himself, Keith Sanchez. You can find and follow him on Twitter at TheTalentCode. Can you talk to him, baby?
What's up, Locked On family? This is Keith Sanchez, 2019 national champ with those LSU Bengal Tigers, man, here to bring you championship level content surrounding the NFL draft 24/7, 365, man. We talk everything college football. We talk everything NFL football. And like we like to say on the Locked On NFL Draft podcast is that it all starts with the NFL draft. DP, we're going super special, man. We have a special show today, man. We have the director of college scouting and personnel for the College Gridiron Showcase. We have Mr. Mike Rittelmann. So I want to start this thing off with a simple question. Mr. Mike Rittelmann, how's everything going, man?
You know what? It's great. Had a great holiday, couple day weekend with the family. I hope both of you had a great Merry Christmas. And I can't thank you enough for having me on today. Just talk about the All-Star game process, what CGS is all about. I listen to you guys all the time. Really respect the content you provide. So, this is awesome. I love talking ball, and I'm doing great. Short words, but I could talk a mile a minute about ball right now.
Now we appreciate it, man. First of all, we appreciate you. Definitely coming on, taking some time out of your busy schedule as it's coming up to start date for you guys over at the CGS. Yeah. But Mike, and of course, listening to the show and showing us that love and support, man. To kind of for the listeners, right, for the viewers who don't know much about the College Gridiron Showcase, kind of give them a little bit of the background. Tell them why this is such an important event.
Absolutely. First and foremost, it was created by our two co-founders, our executive directors, in Jose Jefferson and Craig Red. They are two phenomenal individuals. This is going to be year 10 for CGS. What CGS is all about is, let's face it, you got the big dogs like the Senior Bowl and the East West Shrine Bowl. Those are taking the top 200 guys out of the draft prospects each year. But what's important about this process and where CGS comes into play here, we're looking for that 5th through 7th round undrafted free agent type of guy. And, that is such a key niche for every NFL team now, because I saw a stat, and correct me if I'm wrong, and don't quote me, please, but I think 30% of each roster is made up about those like late round undrafted free agent type of guys. That's really what builds out your roster. And, at CGS, and the experience I've had and what Craig and Jose have built, you're getting those type of guys that can build up those rosters and can be top quality talents across the league.
Yeah, no, I like that. And you look at in how it translates, right? Because just you look at the NFL right now, I think was somewhere between 10 and 12 backup quarterbacks starting for franchises right now, right? So just the importance of those 5th through 7th rounders. And I want to ask real quick, what are y'all process, right? Like, how do you go about scouting these players? Are there scouts that go on the road? Or we grinding the film? Like, what is the process for finding these guys and putting them in the CGS All-Star game?
Yeah, absolutely. What a great question there. So our process starts, I want to say late July, early August. We're going to put our board together. And one thing about CGS, we can take, a good amount of players. We're the one largest all-star formats in the country. We can bring in 250, 300 players. And the reason being is, we can kind of format the game to where it needs to be. But we're looking at from NAIA, D2, D3, FCS, FBS, and we have to scour across the whole country, and then also even Canadian colleges too. We have a good relationship with the CFL. Last year we had 3 out of the top 5 CFL draft picks come to CGS, and again, from an international perspective, CGS is able to help out those players in the Canadian Football League, and then also the XFL and USFL, the IFL as well. So our process, again, it starts up top with Craig and Jose, and then myself, and then a couple other board members. We build out our board, and then I'm talking with pro liaisons, recruiting personnel. Keith, I know you did a great job at LSU. Those guys are the unsung heroes because that's where you're getting a lot of the information from. Okay, well, the back end of the program. And then when you go down to your lower level schools, you're talking with the coaches because that pro liaison might be the offense coordinator or the, the defensive coordinator, anything like that. So again, being able to talk football with people across the country, it's an awesome experience. So we're building it out, and then, it's a labor of love. You're talking to so many schools, you're talking to so many, different personnel directors and coaches, agents. So again, it's a process. It's a labor of love we like to build out throughout the year. And then when the guys hit the field in Fort Worth, January 5th, it's great to see that all that hard work you put in, it's gonna be to present to the NFL teams, the CFL teams, the XFL, USFL, IFL, and then all that. So we play a small role in those players' journey in the NFL draft process. It's awesome to see.
Guys, you shouldn't have to worry when it comes on to buying tickets to your next big event. But if you wait to the last minute, you will worry because you're trying to compete with other buyers, find the best deals, and avoid dealing with scammers and scalpers. But let me tell you about Gametime. All right, they are the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all your sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. What else do they offer, you ask? Well, let me tell you then. Last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Their tickets are easy to find and buy. But this is the best part. For every seat in the venue, they show the views from all those seats so that before you purchase that ticket, you know what vantage point you're going to have. Listen, you want a nice game to go to for a nice price? Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars are hosting the Carolina Panthers this Sunday on New Year's Eve. On the Gametime app, you can get tickets for as cheap as $41. So go ahead and download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase.
DP, if you don't mind, I want to jump in just one other question, man. Talking about the structure of practice, right? Because I know obviously we know how this thing goes, right? With social media, people are going to be tweeting out clips, right? And I want our listeners to be able to have the opportunity to be able to see some of these guys performing and everything. So it's a twofold question, right? Like being able to, one, where are they able to absorb the content? And then two, what does the practice schedule look like, right? Are we practicing? Are there 2 different teams per day? Is there 1 practice per day? Is how many days are helmets, non-helmets? Just so that way we can be able to absorb the content and watch some of these guys that y'all have.
Absolutely. So, all on our social media pages, we'll be able to live, you'll be able to post practice clips and everything like that. We're still finalizing our practice schedule. It's going to be more of an OTA style format, but then we'll have a game on that Sunday. So again, we're going in the year 10 in this. We don't want to put too much rough and tumble on the players. They played a whole season right now. So we like to, dial it back a little bit with inside run, 7-on-7. The key components of any all-star event is the 101s. Okay.
Right.
Defensive lineman, receiver, DB. So you're going to see that. And, we make that a highlight, and then our interview process for teams to be able to go in and interview these players are going to have more than enough time to do it. So it's going to be an awesome experience all around.
No, I think you said something earlier that it resonates, right? Because the main thing is we want the fans and the listeners to understand why this is such an important event. Absolutely. And like you said, about 30% of NFL rosters are made up of later round guys, typically because teams have more picks in the later round. You don't have 3 or 4 picks in the second round unless you shipped off a bunch of players, you know what I mean? And you're just selling the whole house, right? You're selling the whole kit and caboodle. Can you think of any some of the former players that's come through there that fans
Absolutely, man.
like would remember and should remember, and just their story, man, and how this event really helped shape them going into the league?
Oh man, how much time you got? So I was looking forward to this question, man, and I have my list up here. So first and foremost, going back to 2020 or 2021, where it was just us in the Senior Bowl during the pandemic, and we dialed it back, and Jim Nagy does a great job, and Eric Galco does a great job over at the Shrine as well. That was before Eric took over for the Shrine, but there were only 2 events going on. It was us in the Senior Bowl, and then we had to dial it back. We were no pads, but through that event, we had 12 draft picks, and it was an abnormal year, but that kind of resonated with us. Okay, here's the talent we had. Nate Hobbs, the cornerback from the Las Vegas Raiders. He's an elite defensive back on the rise right now. From that, he's a CGS alum. Kene Nwangu, he's an all-pro return specialist from Iowa State, CGS alum. Aaron Brewer, this was a couple years before, coming out of Texas State, he had 40-plus starts. 40-plus, undersized, 6'2", probably like 280, 285 coming out, but in his pass pro, the ability to short set and stone a defensive lineman, an interior defensive lineman like he did, you could see it. He went as an undrafted free agent, now has career starts at guard. Now he's a starting center for the Titans. Dylan Cook, who, I love talking about Dylan, and our team did a great job finding him, finding about him. He's an offensive tackle, was from Montana. Before that, he was at an NAIA school as a quarterback. He made the transition from quarterback to offensive tackle, and he made all conference type of ability. Came to CGS, fluid mechanics and pass pro, aggressive in the run game. Made the 53-man roster for the Steelers in his second year, and he's originally signed out of Tampa Bay, coming out of college, in the Buccaneers, and then moved to the Steelers. But another one is Gunnar Olszewski, and the thing with Gunnar, he was a defensive back in college, okay, and they made the transition. He made the transition to receiver, and he became
the other way around.
Yeah, exactly. And then he was also, the crazy thing about Gunnar was he was a all conference catcher on the Bemidji State baseball team. I think he was all conference, but he was played catcher. But those tools, and then he became a all-pro punt returner with the Patriots, and then went to the Steelers. Didn't end up the way as many thought of, but those are the type of players. George Odom from Central Arkansas, all-pro special teams player, Pro Bowl special teams player, now with the San Francisco 49ers. The rich get richer. Matt Breida, who is a consistent running back in the league. Yep. I mean, it just goes on and on and on here, and again, we don't want to peg ourselves just into, hey, just the NFL. We have CFL successes, the XFL, the USFL as well. 2 years ago, I believe Chris Odom won Defensive Player for the Year, the defensive end who signed with the Cleveland Browns for the USFL. So, again, I can go on and on and on about the type of players we've had come through the event and why the event is so important. Because again, you're looking at a specific niche of player that every team needs. To fill up your depth of your roster on the back end, and CGS does a great job, and I'm proud to be a part of this team and what Jose and Craig have built. Throughout the draft process, and I think we're just different from any other all-star event, and the ability to bring in that type of player.
Today's episode of Locked On NFL Drafts has been brought to you by PrizePicks. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Guys, do you want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and or comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each and every week. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. Guys, tonight Okay, Wednesday night on PrizePicks, I am taking Giannis Antetokounmpo versus the Brooklyn Nets for more than 32 points on the game. All right. So, guys, let me tell you, all you need to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL for your first deposit match up to $100.
Hey, I want to get into, and you kind of talked about it already, right? With just the invitation of the players, and then I want to talk about the juniors, right? That are now able to declare. Is there any process to where y'all kind of trying to transform into that, where the invitations to any junior players? Like, how did y'all handle that? Because I know it's so late in the process, right? I know if I was in you guys' shoes, I'd be like, well, I guess if y'all would have made this decision in September, right? We could have had a totally different process. But I just want to ask, would there be any juniors that would be able to attend this event, and are you guys going after any couple juniors?
We're staying on track what we always done, and that's seniors and seniors who have have no eligibility left. What the NFL announced is that the juniors would be only for the HBCU Legacy Bowl, the senior and the Shrine Game. But
okay.
So it's status quo for us. We're going to stay on our track and build out our roster. What we've always done, and that's with seniors. And it's exciting times through the NFL draft process. So learning how to navigate through all this as an event, has been key. And then Jose and Craig have been done a phenomenal job, directing our team and through this. And like I said, we're excited to get the Fort Worth. I'm excited. It's been a long process since August when we were started building out our board. Again, I'm excited to announce our roster when we get down there. The suspense is waiting for Draft Nicks, who's all going to be down in Fort Worth. Any media members, more than welcome to come down. You guys are more than welcome to come down, see the event. You can register for credentials on our website. So it's a fun time. It's a great time. And then also we'll also have the East-West Shrine Game in attendance. They were last year, and then the NFLPA Bowl was in attendance last year. Dane Vandernet, a good friend of mine who ran the roster there, did an awesome job. Sad to see the event go, but we have good connections, good connections with the senior, the Shrine, as well. So it's exciting times for CGS, and I'm excited to see how the roster performs in front of NFL, CFL, USFL, XFL teams.
Yeah, you mentioned XFL and USFL have, especially I think because they merged now. If I remember correctly,
they did. They did.
So how big is that connection for the CGS showcase, but also for the players? Because we know that's a league in itself that has made a lot of waves in terms of the XFL. Yeah. Especially pre-COVID when they were PJ Walker was setting the whole world on fire. They were averaging like 1 million views per game. How big is that connection with the XFL and now the XFL USFL combination for the showcase?
Oh, it's huge. It's another avenue for players, and you always want to be able to give multiple opportunities for players to showcase their talents. The IFL does a great job. Again, USFL XFL merger. Again, everything was announced. I'm not sure what the exact details are, but again, it's another opportunity for these players to perform in front of professional teams. Whatever you can perform in, and then get an opportunity to play and to get that tape. Yeah, the end goal is always to play in the NFL. I get it. You guys get it. But in the meantime, let's see where you can play and be productive at the next level to get to your goal there. And I think any opportunity like that, even the CFL is awesome as well. Again, for these players to be able to showcase their talents at an event like CGS, it's just important for all facets of the game. Whether you're an NEIA player all the way up to an FBS Power 5 Division I player. Again, where can I showcase my talent in front of the correct eyes?
Well, Mike, man, I want to wrap this up by simply saying thank you, right? Thank you for coming on this show, man. Being able to talk to our everydayers, man. And we know we have a lot of draft people on here that tap in every single day, right? This is what we love. We love the draft process and being able to implement something like the CGS showcase into our show and give our everydayers a little bit of insight into what you guys do, man. Because like we said, it's so important when you talk about the back end of those rosters, right? And how you're able to fill out those rosters. And you talk about the other leagues with the XFL NFL and, you know, the Canadian Football League and thing of that nature, man, is such an important piece. I want to say thank you for coming on here. Like I said, man, we want to have you come again, post the CGS.
Oh, absolutely.
Game
I
and
love
some
what you
ball.
and Damien do for the show. Like I said, I'm an active listener, and you know, I'm glad me and Damien connected. And Keith, your background with the college recruiting is awesome. And you know, I greatly, like I said, I greatly appreciate for you letting me come on and talk about CGS, which I'm passionate about, and then what Craig Redd and Jose Jefferson have built and allowing me to be through that process is just an awesome opportunity. You know, this is awesome. I love we live in a day and age where we can go hop on a podcast, be able to connect on social media, and it's awesome. You know, so I appreciate you both.
Sir.
Well,
Mike.
definitely. Go ahead. We're gonna book that, DP. We are booking that. We are having Mike back on the show, man.
For sure.
Post
Without
CGS
question.
All-Star game to be able to talk about, and then we're gonna put him on the spot, talk about what prospects that he liked. And he
Oh
enjoyed.
man, okay,
Absolutely.
Right.
Gotta put you in the hot seat.
I'll hold
Mike,
you to
before
it.
you go, I want you to go ahead and plug your socials for you, for the CGS. Let the listeners and viewers know where they can find you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So my personals, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, at Mike Rittelmann, at MRITTCGS on Twitter, and then Mike Rittelmann on Instagram. But CGS, man, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter at CGS All-Star. You know, feel free to reach out to me, Jose, Craig, learn more about the event. The event starts January 5th, ends on the 7th. Looking forward to another great year 10 for it. And then again, all media are welcome, you know, especially you two. You know, if you want to come down to Fort Worth, great barbecue, let me tell you. You know, great barbecue. But no, I can't thank you guys, both of you, enough for what you do for the draft community and letting me talk about my story and, you know, CGS.
Without question, man. Not at all. Not a problem at all. We can't wait to have you back on after the event. But guys, as always, go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. Thank y'all for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being out every day. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.